Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about the film Transformers 1. Fun fact, this is the first animated theatrical Transformers film since Transformers the movie in 1984. This film came out in 2024 and stars Chris Hemsworth, Tyree Henry, and Scarlett Johansson, and was directed by Josh Cooley. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Transformers 1 tells the story of how miners, Orion Pax and D16, became Optimus Prime and Megatron with different views on how to save Cybertron. Transformers 1 is an animated action origin story. It has similar vibes to Hercules, Transformers, or X-Men. Transformers is a franchise that has been around for a long time, and they pump out so many movies, and I have seen my fair share of them. All the Transformer movies I've seen take place on Earth and always include humans, and I love seeing one taking place on Cybertron and giving us an explanation as to what happened with the planet that made these robots go into hiding, and also how some of the most iconic Transformers come to be. Going into this movie, I didn't really look at the voice cast, but throughout the movie, I was shocked at how many voices I noticed. Chris Hemsworth was probably the only person I knew that was going to be in this movie, and then I saw that he was playing what looked to be Optimus Prime, and I was a little worried that he wouldn't be able to take on such an iconic character with an equally iconic voice. The movie starts before he was Optimus Prime and was just Orion Pax, who was a miner who aspired to be so much more. Orion proves that you don't have to stick to a mold. You can be different. And just because people are telling you that you should be doing something, it doesn't mean that you have to. He might not have been the smartest or the strongest, but he had heart and a dedication to make things better for everyone and treat people fairly. His goal was to find the matrix of leadership and deliver it to Sentinel Prime, but on this journey to find this matrix, he realized that sometimes these so-called leaders are lying to you. He had no want to lead, but it ended up being thrust upon him, which some may argue is what makes a leader better because his goal isn't to be a leader, but to help people live a better life. You could see good leadership qualities in him, because even after learning of the betrayal of Sentinel Prime, he wanted to bring him to justice for his crimes, but did not want to murder him in just cold blood. In the end, a selfless act that gets him killed makes the Primes decide to pass the matrix of leadership to him, which makes him a Prime, and he assumes the name Optimus Prime. The film lets me know a little more history of the Primes and how they were fierce warriors dedicated to protecting the planet and fought to the very end. There was a battle with the Quintessence, and they tried their best to protect the planet and might have succeeded if they were not betrayed by someone that they trusted. Before this movie, I thought Prime was like a family name, but we come to find out in this movie that it's actually more of a sign of leadership that you can't just take, it has to be given. D16 is played by Tyree Henry, and I love how we see his growth into this villain. At the beginning of the movie, he seems content with his life and has no interest in shaking things up, unlike his friend Orion Pax. I feel like the mixture of learning about Sentinel Prime's betrayal and gaining power really tipped him to the dark side. In his mind, destroying Sentinel Prime and everything he stood for was the best way to go about this, which led to increasing clashes with Orion Pax. He kills Sentinel Prime and starts destroying stuff that Sentinel did before Optimus Prime steps in to stop him, because he is also endangering the lives of the citizens. He thought his way was right and removed anyone in his way to prevent them from stopping him. One of the coolest things to me was finding out that Megatron comes from the fact that D16 idolized one of the primes named Megatronus. The symbol of Megatronus happens to be, you guessed it, the Decepticons logo, which gets engraved into D16 by Sentinel Prime when they're in a little battle. In the end credits, they show Megatron coining the name Decepticons for him and his followers. I found it particularly interesting how Megatronus wasn't even a bad robot and was renowned for his fighting, but as we will come to see, his symbol will become synonymous with being evil. Keegan-Michael Key plays B-127, who will later be known as Bumblebee, who in this film would not stop talking and was a hilarious addition. For people who watch Key and Peele, you may remember a skit about a student that he calls Aaron, and in this movie, he has a robot called Aatron, which I thought was just a funny callback. I loved how vocal he was when he was learning new things once he could transform, and how it brought him a small bit of horror but a lot of excitement. Scarlett Johansson plays Alita 1, who is the boss of Orion Pax and D16, who gets in trouble and eventually becomes a very good ally of Orion Pax. She was very by the book and always had a plan, which made her an asset, especially in battle. She states to Orion that she's the best at nearly everything, but motivating people to do something out of their norm and to take a chance and make their lives better is something that is best left in his hands. I love how quickly she adapts when she can transform, and her fighting style of using wheels like skates was dope to see. Alpha Trion was played by Lawrence Fishburne, and he helped fill in the gaps of what happened with the Primes and helped the team figure out their potential. He was a sage, and when I saw the way he mixed his magic with his fighting, I was impressed, and I am now interested in seeing more Transformer sages. Cogs play a big part in this film, as we learn this is what lets these robots transform. Many of the miners are told that they were born without them as a tactic to suppress them, but we find out Sentinel Prime removed them. It was cool to see how these robots could live without their cogs, but it would be at a detriment. It was inspiring to see that with or without these cogs, the miners still decided to fight back for what was right. I always find it funny how movies that are pushed towards a younger audience use these different words to replace curse words. This movie has a few, but it's cool how they are words that would be used in tech or engineering, like glitch, instead of the other word that starts with a B and ends with itch. My favorite part of this film was the scene of them right after they got their cogs and the ability to transform and all of them struggling. I think it's a great to show that it wouldn't be perfected after the first time, but also how it may look like it's simple, but it's not. It led to a funny scene in which they take down their enemy, but it seemed like they kind of did it by accident because none of them really knew what they were doing. We see later how they get better and how the transformation becomes an extension of them, and when they need weapons, they appear to fulfill their needs. Their fighting style before the cogs seems to be improved after they got their cogs. Transformers 1 offers up a great origin story of a great rivalry. The voice cast was amazing, and the film serves as a reminder not to put blind faith in a leader. There is still so much to explore considering every story hasn't been resolved yet, so hopefully we get more films like this one. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you have not subscribed, please do so you can keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.